All right, so back to this. Yeah. First things first, couldn't exactly record yesterday. I was busy, so I just didn't get to it right again. I've already said that again, if it comes down to me needing to do singles, I'd single Mori. So there's that, right? I've already gotten that down. So again, nothing more really in terms of that. Just I guess the big thing is I still think again, as I've stated already, I don't plan on going through Act 2. I mean, I have the combination in order to get the special ending. So I'll get that, skip through Act 2, and then again get that, right? I'd say, yeah. So no intention of going through Act 2. So there's that out the way. So I think that allows us to do this because it'll give me enough time to still get through Act 1, even if there are on some days where I won't be able to record. So there's that, right? What else? I guess, yeah, I mean, in terms of that, right, getting back to it, we left off in the club the following day, right? I guess the big thing is I think we're getting close to the interaction with Hanako. Again, we've just been having sort of the passive sub and continuous subplot with Natsuki, right? I mean, Yuri Natsuki's friendship. That's one of the things I like about this, right? And was this really one of the first mods to actually do that and portray that in a positive light, right? You know, they aren't just people who hate each other. So again, and then, but we still are the two big interactions, I guess three, right? Because there's, again, the one with Hanako, right? There's also one with Monica, right? Again, I remember we go with Monica to like some park or whatever, right? And it's something to where it's like, yeah, I mean, that was I don't think there's any like manipulation at all going on. Maybe there's, maybe I don't remember, but it's something to where, at least in terms of that, right? Again, it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. And then obviously we have the weekend one with Sayori, which is, again, I find very ironic and I guess funny concerning because I didn't realize how much I remember that Yuri saw Sayori like during this mod, right? Because Sayori, like, it was before she fell into the river, I'm pretty sure. But it's something to where it's like she actually has some insight regarding that. She actually, she brought up to Natsuki that, Sayori wasn't, I guess, her normal self, quote unquote, which we know isn't her actual self, right? It's just the facade. But again, it's something to where it's like, again, at least in terms of that, right? That's something to where it's like, again, what it comes down to is that, yeah, I don't, obviously we know it doesn't go anywhere because Sayori commits suicide and then we get to Act 2 regardless. So, but it's something where it's at least interesting in terms of that. And also the fact that Yuri considers herself, again, since she's obviously close friends with Natsuki in this mod, they have that friendship. That's something to where it's like, yeah, but beyond that, right? It's also something to where it's like, what would you call it? Again, she has that close friendship, but also that would explain why she now in this view Sayori as her opposite instead of Natsuki, because she's, been with childhood friends with Natsuki, right? So it's something where, at least in terms of that, right? It's like, again, with that, it's just interesting. It's a very interesting take. Is again, right? I think, yeah, like I said, it's one of the first, I think, that really had that take, but more mods after started doing. But it really just is interesting, right? It really is interesting. I think it's fresh, right? Fresh and new, as opposed to kind of the mods we have been playing. The fact that we got duped into playing so many Natsuki mods, I don't know how it happens. It always happens, but again, right? At least in terms of that, something where it's like it ends up working out. So there's that, right? But beyond that, again, I don't really have anything else to say. I think we should just get into it, right? No, get into it and then see how far you can make it, right? So, yeah, right. So, at least in terms of that, right? So, there's that. I don't really have anything else to say, at least in terms of that, right? I've got, right. We'll see. Because I think the order is the Hanako interaction, the Monica one. I know Sayori's last. Maybe we get the Monica one and then the Hanako one first, but we'll see, right? We'll see. So there's that, right? Again, beyond, I guess besides that, yeah, let's just get into it, right? And again, obviously she's late as per usual, right? MCU is second to last one, right? This is what I think like the third day. So there you are. Sorry, super sorry. Didn't mean to be late. Hope you guys weren't worried or anything. Again, right? We know there was I don't even remember what's happening. I think they were like arguing over something, right? Or it was she actually picked up, Yuri was the one who picked up on, she actually just, again, literally just the interaction we came from. She picked up on, and you can see it in the history, right? She picked up on again, Sayori's what's it called, facade, right? So she's still noticing it now, and especially like it's amped after, you know, she saw her with the river, right? And the supposed cut mark she saw again. She told herself it wasn't, right? But it's a self-fulfilling, right? You know, where the more she noticed, right? And because she noticed, she's going to pay more attention. When she pays more attention, she'll notice more, right? So it's kind of like a spiral, right? So Monica chose that. And again, we have this just conversation. We know it's just a distraction, right? It's just a sidetrack. Again, it's Sayori to basically, you know, just I don't want to say deflect attention, but more so change the topic at hand, right? So don't make it about like herself. And again, like basically just an icebreaker, right? To get the ball rolling, right? You're so strong-willed. Asuka and I glance at each other. Of course, you talk about it to Monica. It's like the one person you wouldn't want to, right? You can't escape Sayori's perfect theory. Boyfriend? What on earth are you talking about? She glanced at MC. He's clearly not understanding the situation. I mean, here's the thing. I guess, yeah. I mean, but you would understand it, right? Like if you say it, like you would just assume, right? Like here's something, right? Like if people like if you're friends with someone who's like, let's say, let's say you're friends with someone, right? And then, you know, they're not going to be like, unless you're close friends, they probably won't in you, or if you already know the person, right? They're probably not going to tell you, right? You know, that's something that they deal with on their own. They're not going to, again, unless you're close friends, or if you know the person, they're probably not going to tell you. It's something to where, so it's like, it's not that much of a surprise if all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, you know, I have a boyfriend and whatnot. So it's like again, it's like, for him, you would just be, oh, I guess, you know, that makes sense, right? Like she probably does. But instead, he's just like, I don't get it. He's like, but obviously, you know, it's not the case. That was just what Sayori was saying. So never mind that. What held you up anyway? My last period today was study hall. To be honest, the study hall last period, again, it really slaps. I had that fucking, it's nice, right? It's nice. Because even if you don't, because sometimes you can just literally just get out then and there, right? And not need to be at a school. But if not, you know, it's kind of nice to be able to chill that last period. And then like, you can honestly like, if you can get, you know, some homework done then, and then not need to do like any of that stuff at home. And then obviously like, I guess the big thing is if you have like, for me, I had athletics, right? So that was something to where, again, at least in terms of that, right? That was something to where, again, because of that, I'd be able to like kind of set up, get there early for athletics is the big thing, right? So I'm not like rushing it, you know, once school's out, right? Again, I'm already there, right? You know, do a bit of homework, do that, right? You know, it actually works out really well. So, I know people who had, so we had an 8-period. So this is, again, we had an 8-period schedule, right? Where basically you have 8 periods, you know, Monday through Friday, right? And your periods are the same throughout. I know some schools do like alternative days, but for us, we just had the same each day. I knew some people who had 6-period lunch and then 7th and 8th period free. So literally they'd show up, go through the first 5 and then dip. And it'd literally be like noon. And it's like, they were all seniors though. So they had, you weren't doing that as a freshman. If you did that, you know, you're just, it's like, you just have to pay for it down the line, right? But it's a senior, if you have enough out of the way, you can do that, right? And there should be no issue. Again, no real problem with that, right? So, but yeah, that was just kind of funny though, right? So you have heard the bell ring at least. I must not have heard since I was practicing piano. Piano? It wasn't where you play music as well. Damn, they got piano in the study hall room? What the fuck? How would she be so efficient? I barely have time to read. Bitch, because we know these kinds of people, right? You know, they like don't have anything else, right? You know, they have that's the whole issue, right? You know, say, you know, people like expect that from her. They place her on that pedestal. When she doesn't follow through, they're disappointed, right? But then at least to her, you know, not really having time for herself, right? Maybe that was why she left us yesterday. There's no shame in showing others he played piano, though. Such a beautiful instrument. Who wouldn't admire a pianist? I don't really. It kind of just started recently. I've always wanted to learn piano. It's so cool. You should play something for us. She quickly glances at MC. I guess it really is nerve-wracking to play an instrument from someone. MC on top of that. Maybe once I get a little bit better, I will. Again, right? Yeah, it's like, you know, like here's the thing, right? Unless you're just like fucking around, right? Like I used to play drums, right? I guess, yeah, because we no longer have a drum set, right? That shit takes up a lot of space. So I used to play that. And like literally, I would just be fucking around whenever people would over. I'd always do like what's it called, like jokes, where like you do the like, but I'm crash. And then it just literally just fucking around. Like I didn't play anything actually serious. That was just mainly on my own time. Unless you're in like, let's say if you're like in a band, okay, that makes sense because, you know, you're performing, right? That's what you're getting paid to do, right? So, yeah, that sounds cool. I also look forward to this. That's so. In that case, I won't let you down. She grins at him. Monica smiles. Really is beautiful. I mean, this is why I say or immediately assume she had a boyfriend. Again, right? It's like, I mean, I wouldn't say you don't necessarily assume it about someone. It's more so if they tell you and you're just not surprised. Like, I'm not going to go and, like, let's say, go through my friends and bet which of them, has like a boyfriend or girlfriend, right? I'm not going to do that. Right. But if some of them like would reach out and say, like, or if they just mention it in a conversation, right? Then for me, it's more like, oh, I guess they do. Right. Or it's like, for me, it'd be like, oh, I guess it makes sense. Right. But, or it's like, oh, damn, they have one. Right. That's kind of a surprise. But it's something where it's like, I wouldn't just go out of my way and assume, right? It's more so a neutral state. Like, I don't assume they have one or don't have one. It's like, it never really goes down that direction unless I know they've had history with one, right? I didn't mean to pressure or anything like that. Don't worry. I've been practicing a whole lot recently. I really love chance share once I'm ready. And to see, in that case, best of luck. Thanks. So I didn't miss anything, did I? MC ponders for a few seconds. Monica ends up missing Siori's little extravaganza, but I suppose it's not really relevant. Or I guess her with Natsuki and the cookie, right? Would have been better if she had been here, though. Again, right? Because we know, well, we were the first ones here, actually. MC was late. Monica was just more late, right? The end, she simply shrugs. And again, I mentioned, what's it called? I'm like, I always shoot 5 minutes early because, with fluctuations, right? You can either show up 10 minutes early or right on time, right? It's a safe bet. You don't need to show up like fucking 30 minutes early, right? But you don't want to be the guy who's always like late for stuff, because then you develop like a reputation and it's like you always bank on them being late, and it's like, it's just, again, right? You don't want to be the guy who constantly shows up like 5 to 10 minutes late, because it really like fucks with everything, right? Because then you start telling other people like, oh, this dude's just not gonna show up, so I may as well show up until, like, it just kind of fucks things up. So, but obviously if it's a one-time thing, just that makes sense, right? But if it's a habit, right? So everyone gets back to their seats. I grabbed the book I left and opened it to the last page on it. Somehow I have trouble concentrating. He's right next to me. We know this, but here's the thing. We know he spends time with Natsuki. So, no new surprise here. We know he goes Natsuki's route here. So it's like, they're not going to get to read, right? So I don't know why he's, she'll get her time soon, right? It's stressful. Take a deep breath and get back to my boat. Let's see. It's not long before Natsuki comes up to MC. Not only did she stop hating him, she's getting close to him. I mean, because she had no basis to hate him to begin with. She just hated him because she's like, oh, it's a new person. This club should be like it is, right? And it's like, fucking, you literally met him like 5 minutes ago. It's like, but obviously, now that they've spent more time, right? Because it's kind of like, what's it called? I did say, out of like anyone, they have the most similar interests. So I think, that makes sense, right? But obviously, it's a game where you pick and choose, right? It's not, this isn't fucking real life, right? So, but it's something where it's like, like if you spend time with people, unless you two just absolutely hate each other, right? Or like incompatible, you'll probably grow closer and become friends, right? I don't think there's that many people who, aren't able to become friends. I think it's something to where if you work with people, depending on how they work, and if like stuff that they do pisses you off with work, then obviously that'll inhibit you guys from becoming friends. Because it's like, I have this issue where like there's people who I would work with and they'd like just not do what they're supposed to do, and like they'd ask me to do stuff, and it's like, I'm still pissed at you for this, right? It's like, I'm not doing whatever with you, right? But it's like, that's more of an issue there. And then, some people are just, and usually if you get in big groups, it starts to become something to where like you develop more like subgroup dynamics. But it's something to where like if it's like individual, like if you're spending time with just one other person, like you should be able to become friends, right? Feel now in my stomach. Even if you're very different, you'll find something in common. Let's see. I glance at MC and Nazi. You shouldn't have to wait. Just say she talked with Monica. It literally doesn't matter, right? He's following her in a closet, presumably finds some more. Without warning, Nazi turns around and asks Monica. She relieves herself when she's MC home. Shake my hand and start reading again. Why am I feeling so easy? It's not quite like yesterday. Suddenly, a femoral arm contracts several times. I didn't even. How come? Bitch, what do you mean, how come, right? It's your fucking convulsions, right? If you go to town on you, like, again, this is why it's like, because it's literally like, because here's the thing, right? Drugs, it's funny, because drugs, like, at least, if you're doing drugs, right? Not saying to do drugs, don't do drugs, right? I already went on a whole spiel about, like, there are addictions where the cure isn't, there are addictions where the cure is moderation, right? And there are addictions where the cure is not doing it at all. So cutting is one of them, and hard drugs is another. It's something where it's like, if you're doing, even if you're doing hard drugs, at least you get a high that lasts for however long. If you're cutting yourself, what's it called? You mangle your arm. Okay, you get high for like what? How long? I don't cut, so I don't know, but it's presumably short term. So it's like, even that, like, cutting is probably like the most, like, it's the, well, not highest or slowest reward. It's like the most short-term, like least long-term benefit thing you can do. Like you mangle your arm, you get that high for what? You know, probably like rut for like 5 minutes. Like, I don't know. I don't cut, right? But something where it's like, okay, then you deal with all this shit, right? Because you mangle your arm. I grab my arm with my right hand. I anxiously look around to see if anyone's watching. I close the book. Bitch, is it bleeding through? Left arm's literally shaking. It's not pain. Somehow believed it may be linked. What do you think it is? Like, there's only one connection to draw here. And she's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have mangled my arm last night. Need to do it? Just a little, calm down. She did it other times without it convulsing. That was just on her own volition, right? What's it called? This, like, if it's actual, like, convulsing, like your arm has a fucking seizure, right? It's like, maybe it's as a result and not an indication that I should, right? Let's see. And since he's spending time with Natsuki, I'm pretty sure, what's it called? I'm pretty sure she doesn't make, well, I mean, she brought the knife, right? But I don't think she does it, right? Just me, or am I allowed to do it? Just a little. Motherfucker, last time, just a little, you know, you went violin, right? You know, close the door behind me. Part of me wants to think this, in the end, it'll be a positive thing. No, it's not. It's the, like, biggest short-term, least, like, long-term. It's the biggest short-term positive, least long-term, like, most long-term negative, right? You're not, this isn't a good thing. Bitch, what the fuck, Monk? I would agree. That's how you know they're deluding themselves. Like, when you reason yourself to, like, conclusions like this, because it's one thing to say, oh, I'm just fucked anyway, you know, let me do this, right? And then get that sensation. But if you try to reason yourself, that's how you know you're really, like, deluding yourself, right? It's definitely a way to feel at ease. Walk up the stairs, stop at the top steps, and drop my motherfucker in the hallway? God damn. Wait, what? Security lock? What the fuck? Bitch, there's a security lock? Wait, if I'm doing it on purpose, it can't be bad. Bitch, what do you mean? If it was an accident, it'd be good? What do you mean? Start softly, kind. Motherfucker in the hallway? Come on. It's like not even the bathroom. She's like, I didn't even make it to the bathroom. So many cuts. They're not even deep. I really need to make that money? I mean, I guess better that they're not deep because you don't actually fucking die. But it's like one cut too deep, you know, you hit your wrist fucking dead, right? You know, bleed out and die, right? I mean, so better that you don't die, but it's like, I mean, come on, you're literally, obviously we know no one else exists at school. There's only 4 fucking characters, right? It's even in the character file. So, you know, is anyone there? It's like, damn, isn't this, this is someone from the club. We know this, right? And they actually catch us. Is that Sayori? So she actually catches us again. Because I guess we technically caught Sayori. We didn't see her fall in the river, but we saw her in the woods. I completely fucking forgot she sees us here. So I walk downstairs, see who's calling my name. Please don't tell me it's Sayori. See a top of her hair downstairs. This isn't good. Definitely not good. It's me. Don't be scared. Shake the block. Motherfucker, there's no way you got that shit off. Yuri, are you all right? I'm shaking. Sayori looks absolutely mortified. What have I done? Just want to feel better. So again, she caught you. I'm like, motherfucker, shaking the blood off? That ain't gonna do shit. Like, if anything, just roll your sleeve down, but then you just bleed through your sleeve. It's like, just take the L. There are some situations where you need to just take the L, right? Oh my, don't. And here's the thing. It's funny because we know Sayori actually did it, once, right? Again, we saw her at the river. She did it before then, though, right? But we know she did it as more of a punishment rather than for the pleasure, right? So it's something to where it's like, again, at least in terms of that, it's just kind of funny in terms of what would you call it? Again, I'm pretty sure, like, seeing Yuri was, because I'm pretty sure we even saw her in rain clouds, right? I'm pretty sure we saw Yuri in rain clouds, and that's how we're getting this interaction. But it's something to where in rain clouds, I think that's the motivation for Sayori to stop doing it. Because I think, like Monica, she just did it once and then did it, right? Because it's like, what's the point of this, right? So I think I completely forgot about this. So this is actually surprising. Even if it means sounding weak, I can't let anyone know. This is anyone's business. It's mine. Sayori, please don't tell anyone. Please, I beg you. And oh my God. So this is literally the same dialogue that happens in Rain Clouds. Because I remember this interaction. I didn't remember in this, but I remember in Rain Clouds. It's just, you have to understand, you know, it's not a bad thing. She's like, you understand, right? It's like, what are you implying? Doing it for myself. Please forget what you've seen. Please. The voice gradually gained louder. It seems like Sayori's not listening. She's lost in her thoughts. Sayori. She snaps back to reality and looks at me, still with the same horrified look. Yes, I won't tell anyone, Yuri, don't worry, because we know she did it, right? We caught her. So I need to get back to, motherfucker, you need to clean off, like, away from here. I'll get going. Yuri, please don't. You have no right to. And then again, this implies that we know, but then it's like, wait, how would we know, right? Should have used who I've seen this more, but she doesn't know you saw her, right? Like, we don't see Yuri, as Sayori, right, in Rain Clouds during that scene, right, where he fucking fall in the river, right? I remember that. So again, so Sayori doesn't know, right? It's too late now. Walk past the head to club room. I think she just thinks that somehow Yuri found out via other means, right? By another way. So what's it called, right? Again, it's something to where it's like, at least in terms of that, right? It's like, again, that's what that comes down to. So it's like, again, it's just very interesting. And I think, again, this is literally the motivation that Sayori gets to like just not do it, because she's like, oh, is this what I'll become, right? Why did I talk to her like that? Bitch, you shouldn't have done that in the first place. There was no reason to leave. I didn't know what else to do. Well, she has to live through the same thing. Well, we know, again, she does, right? Again, it's different reasoning, right? But still same outcome. Most likely, open the door and head into the club room. Hear a door close behind me as I head to the table. Monka's peaceful. Oh, I was like, what is this theme? Monka's peacefully sitting at a table while Natsuki and MC are still cheerfully talking. Glance at my arm again. No, I've been way too harsh with Sayori. Yeah, it was the same thing with Natsuki, because she realized after the fact. She'll feel bad because of me. I must apologize. It's least I can do it. Once again, exit room. This time Monka wasn't busy, so she may have noticed my instance. I hope I wasn't too suspicious. I mean, but here's the thing, I just assume, oh, they've got shit to do, right? Like, it's not, like, maybe they have like business, right? Maybe they have like bowel movements or something. Like, you're not going to immediately assume like, oh, this, maybe if you leave with someone else, because then it's like, oh, you two going somewhere? Like, what are you doing? And then or like, we're like, not like as a, what's it called? Like, I guess, what would you call it? A confrontational type deal, but something to where you'd see then just be like, oh, where are you two in? Where are you, like, you two going somewhere? And then they'll be like, oh, we're just doing this. It's like, okay, yeah, it's fine, right? But like, just on their own, like, I just assume they're going somewhere. That'd be useless. There's nothing to see up there. Maybe she just wanted to breathe some fresh air. Turn left. I don't think she actually catches her. Where'd she be? I feel sharp pain. Damn, I wonder what it's from. Seems like it just bumped in. We got her. Oh my God. We fucking got her, right? We literally got her. I didn't know this interaction happened this early. So I guess I was right in the order. It's this, then the Monka one, then the fucking Sayori one. But again, I guess, so we don't find Sayori. I don't even know where she goes beyond this. Is this updated? For whatever reason, I feel like they used a different sprite. Hold on, do I have my old videos that I can go to? Do I have my old videos that I can go to? Because if I can, right, I'll go to my old videos and then actually, like, see, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure this is a different model. So let's go back to a nuance, right? Do I have one on the, okay, no, I think it's the same model. I think I'm just overreacting. For whatever reason, I thought it was a different model, but no, I think it's just the same one, right? Oh, bitch, why is her name Wieldy Girl? Sorry. Go hold her hand out for me to grab. She helps me get back on her feet. Bitch, don't fucking, what the hell did I just do? I hate this right click that I can't just get rid of this like bar at the bottom, but it's fine, don't worry. I feel really uneasy. I wasn't careful. I could have hurt. She's smaller than me. Bitch, she's not that small, at least from what we're seeing on the screen. Take a few things to look at her. Can't help but look at the scars she's trying to hide on her face. I wouldn't say trying that hard, right? It's like, because here's the thing, right? What do you mean trying to hide, right? Like, she's not, like, it's literally just out there. Like, okay, if she's like turning away, right, and being like, oh, just don't be shocked, right? Something like that. That's not exactly trying to hide. It's more so just, not like freaking you out, because there are probably people who see her and be like, oh, disgusting, right? Like, especially like, because it's a thing with like what kids, like, if you're a kid, you don't know better. You see someone who's disfigured and mangled and you're like, that person, like, what's wrong with them, right? But like, it's more so for your own protection, right? They're not hiding it. It's more so like not trying to like set you off and like with the first thing they see, right? If she was wearing like a fucking, not like mask, but had like bandages and like skin grafts, right? Different thing, but like, it's not hiding, right? If you have it out, right? You need to let it like, what's it called? Breathe, right? I think you dropped your book. Looking down. Indeed, it's on the floor. It must have fallen from my back. I pick it up. Excuse me. Yes. Do you actually like reading? Motherfucker, was this an insult? Pardon the question. It's just I like reading too, and your book looks, her voice barely audible. It's weird she seems. I feel sympathy for her. Because they're the same person. They even have the same hair color. Even empathy. She reminds me of myself a little. Indeed, we know they're both scarred. Like, look at Yuri's left arm, right? Yeah, I love your reading. I've started this book recently. Have you ever read it? Yes. I've read the entire series. Her eyes light up with excitement. She's definitely like me. What are the odds? People from my class don't usually talk to me like that. I mean, again, it's like, like finds like, right? Or like finds like, right? It's something to where it's like, even like the introverts, like I said, I'm mostly introvert, right? But like, I still like to talk to people and like spend time with people. It's something where like, even in like, let's say if they're not like me, but something where I usually find people and spend time with people who are like you, right? Most friend groups are like that, right? Even most relationships are like that, right? Like you'll notice people rarely date outside their own like race or ethnicity, right? You know, that's part of that, but also just personality wise, right? It's something where you're not with someone who has like the exact opposite personality, right? It's mostly like same, right? You both have to be like similar for that. So like again, right? That's why it's like, and that's not even, like, because obviously there's the argument that, oh, that's just what norms have been, right? Or that's just like, what the system, how like the system set up or whatever, right? Or how like, the institutions, right? But it's something where that's just, like almost like, I don't want to say human nature or like physiology, but it is almost kind of like that, where it's just like more so you're just more compatible with people who are like you, right? You just enjoy to spend more time with people who are like you, right? It just makes sense that way, right? So it's just a personal preference, and then that's how your personal preferences align. So as I look at her some more, I notice her uniform isn't quite the same as ours. Don't let me ask you, what are you doing here? But it wasn't she here for like a competition or something? Seems like you're not from our school. Is that right? No, I'm on a temporary cultural trip again. So she's here for our meetings. I was looking for a friend, actually. Do you know someone named Hisao? Have you seen a boy with a different uniform? I haven't. And we know this is from a completely different anime, right? And we know her name's Hanako, right? So, well, not really. I don't remember seeing anyone. The girl sighs. Thanks, anyway. We'll stand there awkwardly for about 10 seconds. Suddenly, she mumbles something. Pardon? I'm sorry if that sounds stupid, but what's your name? Oh, it's fine, really. My name's Yuri. What's your name? She's extremely happy that I told her my name. It's Hanako. What a beautiful name. Glad to meet you, Hanako. Glad to meet you too, Yuri. I don't even remember what I'll look up anime Hanako. So it's from a completely different fucking anime. All right, so let's search up anime girl Hanako, right? So okay, Hanako-san. Okay, never mind. Bitch, yeah, there's some weird shit showing up that I think is from something else. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just wrong. Let's go to images. All right, funny enough, I don't think I'm actually gonna figure it out. So oh yeah, it's from, what's the anime from? I got it picked up. All right. Let's see, right? It's let's see, Hanako Aikizawa. And then what is it? Katawa Shouju, or it's like a visual novel, and you can see because of like the burns, right, or whatever. Let's see. So again, right, it's from just it's from fucking what's it called, right? Again, something different. So we learned that, right? Because I was like when we played through this the first time, I was like, this 100% has to be from a different fucking, if they have a whole ass model for it, right? It has to 100% be something from a different fucking anime, right, or something. Really feel embarrassed, but Hanako looks like a shy and calm person. Someone I can get along with. You want to discuss it, hello? I have a bit of time, and since you've read this book, maybe you'd like to talk about it. Or I don't know. Yes, please. If you don't mind. Of course not. Show it out a bit. And again, it's like finds like, right? Again, and if they're not doing anything, right? And again, we're in the courtyard. See, huh? Or wait, well, I'm sorry. Why are there? Bitch, you should have done a better job rolling down your sleeve. Like, bitch, okay, why are there cuts on my arm? Why is there a scar on your face? Like, you're bleeding a little. Of course. Wasn't careful enough when I grabbed the book. Hanko doesn't look panicked to see her. Well, I mean, because here's the thing. We know she probably like deals with it. She probably doesn't even assume it's manual. She's like, oh, she's another someone like me, right? So there's a point of relation as opposed to differentiation, right? That's not even a fucking word, right? But there's similarity rather than differences, right? Like if I look at someone and I know that they cut and I see that they cut, I think of that person different from me because I don't cut, right? And that's just, because again, I haven't had like motivation to do that. Like, I don't know what motivates people to cut, I'm not a fucking psychologist, right? But something where it's like, what's it called? She probably looks at Yuri and she's, instead of thinking, oh, she's different, she's like, oh, she's alike, right? We're like similar in that retrospect. Because just looking at, her scars, right? Again, it's something to where, granted, maybe she's smart and she's like, oh, you literally just cut yourself, right? But it's like, maybe she just doesn't connect the dots and it's like, oh, instead sees that similarity. I didn't want to ask her. I can understand. I only like to say that. She takes a deep breath, looks so nervous. Who wouldn't be in this situation? So I come from there. A lot of people who have problems. These people, they'd like to be normal, like you. Me too. So whatever's making you do this isn't worth losing what you have. And again, so she's actually smart enough for that. And she's like saying, she's probably like, I didn't choose to be this way. Whatever accident, made her like this, right? Made her like that. She probably didn't fucking choose, right? But instead, Yuri's choosing to do that to herself. So it's like, it's not worth it. Skin is a beautiful pale texture. Motherfucker, texture. What did that say? I keep skipping past the dialogue. What does that say? Yeah, texture. Actually, first, sorry, maybe this isn't my business. Sorry. Gently shake my head. No, I understand what you mean. I totally understand. And I think, funny enough, I think this is where she starts to turn it around after this meeting, and especially after with Monica, because we know she doesn't do it after, like, for the latter half of Act 1, right? We know, again, she turns around. Like, her character arc's like a parabola. Should be more careful. 2 cases in less than an hour. This rate, someone will find out. I'm going to have to go back to my club room. Sorry about this. Maybe we can talk another time. Actually, I was looking forward to for us out because we're heading back to our school. So, till we meet again, Yuri. Is that so? Hope we'll meet again. Thank you for what you said. I think you understand what you meant. Goodbye, Yuri. And is it actually just like that? Does the meeting end just like that? I thought their meeting was longer. I thought that it was for like about like an hour. But instead it was only for like 15 minutes. So maybe it's something to where I just spent a fuck ton of time looking for the anime the first time around. They're in the building. Where we were encountered, what she said, what kind of school did she go to? Most importantly, how can I show my weak? Like, here's the thing, right? Okay. It's your arm, right? People, like, if you're wearing a t-shirt, people are looking at your arm, right? Even if you wear a sleeve shirt, it's going to roll up eventually. Like, it's not that you're showing, it's like accidental, right? You're not deliberately showing. Okay, if you had something on, let's say, your chest or back, like, let's say you have a tattoo you're trying to hide on your chest or back. You could probably hide it, right? Just like never take off your shirt, right? In the presence of others. But if you got shit on your arms, like, it's not that hard to see, right? You're not, these times were accidental. So, yeah, it's something to where it's like, again, right? So it's something to where it's like, that's just, I guess, the inevitable result of this, right? She's not wrong. It's just permanently hurting my body for my own enjoyment. Although, isn't life about enjoying things? Bitch, you say that when you're dead. You cut too deep, right? It's like, oh, I'm dying. Well, it's such a random encounter happen in such a time. Bitch, and we know, funny enough, I'm pretty sure in Act 2, Monica actually reveals she manifested Hanako as like a test or something, right? I'm pretty sure she reveals that she actually manifested Hanako for like some test or something. That wasn't like, that was just like, it wasn't some random encounter. She's like, oh, I manifested someone who I knew was like Yuri, right? Maybe Monica's worrying about me. Maybe she came looking for me. I quickly climbed stairs to the club room. Or even walk up last time, but hear a voice in front of me. So how was it? We look up, see. It's not right now. She literally says it right now. I completely forgot. She reveals, I remember this. She reveals that she created her, right? As kind of like, a test, right? But also just, partially probably for shits and giggles, right? But also it's kind of like a test to see like, okay, how far can I push my powers, right? And then also to learn a bit more about Yuri. You were talking to a girl, is that right? So Monica's wondering where it was. Oh, I just bumped into her, nothing more. We talked for a few minutes. How'd you know? I haven't seen her when we were talking. Oh, that. It's just, I was testing though. Again, and that's, she reveals this. I remember this. I was like, because yeah, I'm pretty sure she revealed that she was the one who made her, right? New character files, important data. Is it actually in the character files? No, well, she's no longer in the character files now, but I was just trying something. What? Monica, it makes no sense. Do you believe in supernatural things here? Sometimes yes, but why are you asking these questions? You're being scary. Can't quite understand what she wants to say. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. I try walking past her. She doesn't let me. What if I told you you're not real? Excuse me? What if I told you this isn't reality? It's merely a predetermined world created by a superior entity. Would you believe me? Laughable. I mean, that's kind of what, what's it called? Some people think about that in real life, right? That everything's like predetermined and that, because this isn't even just, I'm not even just talking about standard religion, like creationism, where it's like, obviously the world was, because funny enough, right? What's it called? I think they actually did the math in terms of probability. And I think there's actually a higher probability that like the world was created by, again, an external like entity than for all of the events to line up in order to create our world from starting from the Big Bang to now, right? But again, obviously, we don't fucking know, right? We have lifespans of what, 80 years in the universe, what, billions of years old. So we don't fucking know, right? And if it was a external like entity, we wouldn't fucking know because we're just internal to this world, right? So we just don't know. Who knows, right? I don't. Bitch, you don't. So again, it's something where it's like, it is interesting, but there are people, not again, just like religiously, right? But there are people who like philosophically believe that, oh yeah, there was there had to have been, this superior entity, like not necessarily, because funny enough, a lot of them are atheists, right, or agnostics, but they're not like religious, but they're like, oh, it had to be a superior entity, right? And everything's like predetermined, your actions are predetermined, right? It's like, what's the point, right? It's something to where it's like I was predetermined to make this fucking video. Like that's what people will say. It's something to where it's like, again, there are people who believe that, like, because obviously she believes it about this world because she knows that that's the case. The actions are predetermined. I just control the flow of time, and that's created by a superior entity, the fucking person who made the mod, right? But people believe it about the real world too. So, but who knows? We don't, right? I don't. It's, are you all right? What do you mean you were testing low? Hanako wasn't real. How do you know her name? What do you mean? Situation makes no sense. She heavily sighs. Of course. Should have expected this. Expected what? You're worrying me. Anything happening in the club room? Sorry, Yuri. Reloading script. Reloading game. My back hurts. Just what? And then again, quizzically, yeah. So again, so she reveals that, right? I remembered that, but I didn't remember until like 10 lines before. Really fall asleep on the stairs. Slowly lift my sleeve. Cuts are still there. I don't remember. I think I passed out shortly after Yuri found me. So she doesn't remember that interaction. So she doesn't even remember it, right? I feel like I'm omitting something. I know something is wrong. I can't seem to find out. Low key though, there are some times where I would like think and like I would again just not remember stuff I did. But I guess that's just, well, maybe it's normal human intuition. Maybe it's just, me having shit deleted from my memory. Maybe Stewart's already back in the club. I mean, that would be the most logical place for her to head. Right? Before entering the room, I peek inside. Seems like Natsuki and MC are still having their chat. Maka's waiting at a table. Sayori's still not here. So I think she goes to the roof, right? I'm pretty sure she goes to the roof. I'll just wait for her here. In the room without making noise. I'm pretty sure she goes to the roof there, right? And Monica, because I'm pretty sure Monica was just like fucking with Sayori at the time. And then she just runs into Yuri and she's like, oh yeah, that was all me. Just as like a test, right? So where were you, Yuri? I've been searching for you. I couldn't find you. She's like, damn, no luck, right? I mean, damn, they must go to a big school, right? How breathless. Oh, is that so? Still feeling a little jealous? It's like, wait, what? She says that last sentence, a little grin on her face, clear to tease. I don't think the feeling I've had was jealousy this time, though. I guess that must be it, I guess. I see. Well, if you need anything, come see me. I'm just waiting for Sayori to come back before we start sharing poems. By the way, she leans it closer and whispers, please refrain from sharing your poems with Sayori. Suspects she's not really confident about hers, it'll probably make her feel bad. Again, this is interesting. I don't remember this. Because it's something to where we didn't share ours with her the past couple of days because she never really came up to us. And we were more worried about like other stuff, right? What's it called? We were worried about like, should we find out if we shared it with Monica, right? But we didn't share it. We shared it with the MC and the Natsuki, right? And then we had the whole ass argument, right? But it's something to where, again, right? At least in terms of that, something to where it's like, again, right? This is interesting. Because again, we've always said that Monica views Sayori is public enemy number one, so she doesn't really care about Yuri, right? Or Natsuki, right? She always viewed Sayori's enemy, despite the fact that, funny enough, right? MC was the one who went on Natsuki's route, right? But something to her, like, again, so if anything, she'd rather create conflict between them so they can fight, and then she deals with Sayori, right? So it's like, again, so that's why she's like trying to isolate her, right? Because that's the first thing. She's like, oh yeah, don't share with her because of this bullshit reason, right? It's like, again. So please take a few seconds to absorb Monica's words. In a normal situation, you could believe that sharing poems could be a good way. But if no Monica tells me that isn't a good idea, yeah, you gotta listen, right? Top of that, what I see in this poem is definitely real. Again, right, judging by her look on her face earlier at the river, it's clear the wound she had was done to herself. And again, you already saw her later as well, so totally understand. Count on you to make her feel more at ease, of course. It's club president. It's my duty to take care of such issues. Stop bothering you then. Feel free to get back to your reading. She gets up from her seat and leaves me alone at the table. I can't help but worry about Sayori. Seems like I'm not alone thinking about her. Sure, Monica will take care of all of her in the proper manner. Shake my head and grab my book in my bag. Huh? I noticed a few bloodstains on the cover. The book looks a little worn. Did it fall somewhere? Did she like take the book or what? Because I'm pretty sure it's just in the same spot, right? I don't recall reading my book while I was out there, or did I? Can't remember much. Maybe just Monica just did that, to make her think like, oh, I must have done that, right? So you'll see something that reminds you and be like, I guess I just think about sleeping in my bed. Seriously, you have a bed for a reason, right? Why? I'd probably sleep a little better. On my book here, start eagerly reading the passage I'd stop at before leaving the room. Let's see, a club door opens. Sayori enters in her arms, a cardboard box. Oh, so that's where she went. She was probably looking for supplies. For the festival, maybe. Monica immediately greets her. They talk for a little while. Sayori chuckles a few times. She has Monica the cardboard box. Because again, we know the MC doesn't go with her. He's with Natsuki, right? And she does. And know how she tries to keep her arm bent. Does it hurt? Or maybe she is trying to hide as much as possible. Well, I mean, because here's the thing. We've revealed that we know. So now she's probably concerned about other people finding out, right? Let's see. I do the same. It looks like he's done talking to Natsuki. She has a satisfied look on her face. She watches MC put a book in his bag. She probably lent him another manga. Before Sayori gets a chance to sit down, Monica coughs and raises. So you get the okay, everyone, right? Are you ready to share your poems? I shiver as soon as I hear her last sentence. I'm going to have to share the poem I wrote this morning. Well, someone really understands why I mentioned it. I mean, because then you wouldn't write it, right? Because you write that kind of stuff unless you're like trying to be big brain and think that you'll get away with it, right? You probably don't want to, right? But I guess I don't know, spur of the moment thing, right? Well, if Natsuki understands, she'll definitely judge my little hobby. Well, I mean, here's the thing: Sayori already knows, right? I feel like once one person finds out about that kind of stuff, it's only inevitable before everyone finds out, right? That just makes it that much easier, right? That's why it's like, what's it called? There's this idea that when you're doing something, right? There's this idea that when you're doing something, right? And it could just be anything, right? Any sort of like habit that's on like a schedule, right? Any sort of like scheduled habit. There's this idea that it's easier to do it 100% of the time than 95% of the time, right? And the reason for that is that, again, once you start to flake a little, you kind of, again, it's like a spiral, right? You can justify doing it more. It's kind of the same thing with this stuff. It's like, you tell someone, right? That person tells another person, that person tells two. Again, it just gets out of hand. Once one person figures out, it's only that much easier for everyone else too. So I suppose if no one knew, I had the point rolling the bag and lay it on the table without even looking at him. I know where MC's headed. Natsuki's already expectantly looking at him, waiting to share a problem. So Sayori's once again next to him, listening. Again, right? We know we're not sharing with her, right? Kind of understand why she wants to stay near MC. Yuri, and then again, here's Monica, right? So I've been calling you a few times, but you haven't answered. Too busy looking at the little lovebirds. She's like, quizzically looking at Monica. Lovebirds? I'm just kidding you. Don't worry. Those two sure are growing close. And she's like, wait a second, this is going to interfere with my plans. And again, she's gaslighting Yuri in this sense to actually, again, try to get her to do something about it. Because she's like, I can't worry about that. I got to deal with Sayori, right? So she's like, I'll have Yuri do it, right? Indeed. You don't sound too convinced, though. Did you finally make up with Natsuki yesterday? Oh, of course we did. She almost stayed in my house, too. Oh, really? It's great. She couldn't stay. Oh, it's complicated. She was most likely grounded by father. And she's like, wait a second. She knows about him, right? Her father, right? His expression suddenly darkens. Oh, you mean her father wasn't aware that she was at your place? Exactly. She said she'd call him a little later. And again, she said, like, I'd just rather deal with the consequences. That's how close she is to Yuri. That again, right? That she'd rather deal with the consequences of that as opposed to anything else. So again, it's something where it's like, yeah, in terms of that, she'd just rather deal with the consequences that way. So, but again, obviously she got the call, so then it's like, okay, right? You should avoid doing that. It's not your business, but just avoid it. I'm sure I completely understand what Monica's saying. Expression clearly shows she's worried about something though. Well, she thinks she's worried about Natsuki, but instead she wants, to divide us and Natsuki, right? We don't really talk much this morning. She shrugs. Don't bother her. Maybe circumstances make the situation a little delicate for her. Just make sure you support her with, well, everything. She chuckles a little. Including how close she's getting to our new member. Heart sinks as soon as I hear her mention this. Of course I'll support her. It probably means I won't be able to get close to him. But again, creating that divide, right? Most importantly, if it means I can still be friends with her, it's a small price to pay. But I'll still take care of Natsuki. Good, not that I had any doubts in the first place. You're always so responsible, Yuri. I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe you don't see it, but I do. You're always down to earth, calm, and thoughtful. She looks behind her. It looks like Natsuki's raising her voice. She suddenly darts out of the room. What the fuck? Sounds like something happened. Share a poem with you a little later. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Wait, what? Can't help but look at the exit. Judging by the way she was clutching her stomach. She was, yeah, bitch, what happened? I don't recall this in the original. Yeah, from I see. Everyone's busy with the current situation, so I won't notice me leaving the room. Can't leave Natsuki alone like that. I don't recall this happening at all. Like I swore I'd support her. Or even get to the bathroom. Hear Natsuki coughing. Sounds like she really doesn't feel good. You're in the bathroom after knocking on the door. And again, it's the inverse of what happened that first day after that argument, right? It's like yesterday. Not again, right? It's the inverse. This is how I pay it back. Here's some more coughing coming from on the stalls. The door's locked. Knocking it a few times. Natsuki, are you all right? Leave me alone here. Those words hurt more than they should have. Natsuki never talked to me. There's more of them. It's just context. I understand something went wrong, Natsuki. You're there for me yesterday, right? I nervously laugh. You're supposed to be my role model too, remember? Natsuki doesn't laugh. I hear a sigh on the other side of the door. I don't think I should be your role model anymore. I don't know what happened. I legit don't recall what they do on the second day. Isn't this when they fucking fall, right? Isn't this when they're like trying to get the shit from the closet and then she like breaks down because like, shit's so hard, right? She was like demeaning the MC and she's like, oh, it's so hard. I'm pretty sure that's after that interaction. Why? How? Why would Natsuki say something? No, it's because you have MC Day, do something wrong, or is it my fault? I'm sorry, was it too clingy and annoying? Stop. Let's just talk later, all right? Her sentence is interrupted by her son coughing. She really doesn't sound good, but what am I supposed to do? Okay, so which one are we actually supposed to do though, right? Yeah, which one are we actually supposed to do? What's it called? When Natsuki is crying in the bathroom, choose to try to understand the problem. I guess that one's obvious, right? Try to understand the problem. If I want to help her, I need to understand. She clearly needs to start feeling bad for talking to MC. She's been distant this morning too. So it could either be about yesterday evening or about MC or both. Take a deep breath. I'm sorry. I know you hate this when I do this, but is it because of me yesterday? Truth is, I've noticed you're distant. So tell me, if anything's wrong, just tell me. How am I supposed to live knowing I hurt my best friend? Why do you always believe things are your fault? I sense a bit of anger in her voice. Did I say something wrong? Stop assuming these things. Tell you everything's fine. Stop trying to find again, right? But here's the thing. This only works if you're actually fucking fine, or at least it appears if you're fine. If you fucking break down and you're like, oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Like, no, you're not. like we'll be able, like, it's not. Here's the thing, right? It's not that obvious. Or like people, you may think it's not obvious. It is, right? So should have just told her I'd be here for her. I'm stupid. I'm sorry, Natsuki. Sorry for being so mean. Her voice is all soft now. It's just, listen, I'll explain later. Just don't worry. Go back to the club. If they ask where I am, just tell them I've got my lady things. I burst out laughing. Yeah, it's like, bitch, she's busy. Hey, it's like, hey, we're all girls. Well, not the MC, but it's like, hey, we're all girls, so we understand, right? It's like, the motherfucker, it's like, it's like, you should know, right? So, again, close the door behind me. Natsuki isn't coughing anymore. It seems like she's feeling a little better. Bitch, how can you hear that? At least she wasn't sick or something. She's feeling a little tired. That must be it. I entered the club room. Monica's still talking to MC. She has a poem in her hand. I glance at it. Ryan suggests it's MC's. Motherfucker, the old 20 poem special. How do you even recognize her handwriting like that? See, quietly earnest, looking a little better, and she left. Her hair is wet. She probably washed her face. Still, I don't really know what caused her so much trouble. She waits a little behind Monica before suddenly joining the conversation. She grabs the poem from Monica's hand. She didn't want her to read it. Now it makes me even more curious. Guess I'll have the occasion to see what it's about in a moment. Some points here, jerks her head up. She wants to be part of the discussion. She was just napping. Remember what Monica told me. She's probably not too confident, so I won't force her. But again, right, we know that she actually wants it secretly, but it just doesn't happen, right? Things are always so conflicted in my head. Monica turns around and leaves the little group to sit next to me once again. She sighs. Have you noticed something different? And again, she's saying this about what's it called? Natsuki, right? Again, right? She talking to me. I was so focused on MC. He's eagerly reading her poems. Looks like she's really enjoying it. So, oh yeah, so well, Natsuki's always been a little like that. Like what? What do you mean? Whenever steps on her mind, her behavior changes, though I can't seem to see her as Jesus Christ. I don't recall seeing her as troubled as she is today, honestly. It's a little strange. That's right. Just now we were talking about her poem with MC. As soon as he came back, she took it from me and said she won't give it back. Okay, damn, bitch. She didn't want to give it back. She's like, bitch, the poem is mine. How odd. She usually acts slightly different in this case, but she's never acted this differently. DF tried to convince her to give it back, but she liked the poem too much. In fact, I suspect the poem is written specifically for her. Bitch, that's what the fucking, that's how we know it's, we know because we can see the picture, right? Funny enough, even though the words are for Sayori, as an MC wrote for her, exactly, we've talked about it. He seemed really uneasy. It wouldn't surprise me if you're trying to impress her. Natsuki's reaction is probably linked to it too. I think our little baker's in love. It's like our little, what's it called? What's old Miss Debbie here, right? My heart sinks once more in love. It must be, motherfucker, it's been like 2 days. It's literally been 2 days. Does it really have to change people? Is one Natsuki feeling even love? Like it's been 2 days. Like, come on. I'd say give it like at least a week, right? Even closer to a month. Like 2 days though, right? 2 days. Too hard to understand. I just can't understand. Don't be ridiculous. If only knowing, bitch, that's why I'm like, it's been like 2 days. Anything love can happen? No. I'd say I'm not a believer in soulmates. And again, right? That's just because of, I brought it up with like divorce rates and stuff where like, again, in countries with arranged marriages, there's less divorce rates, right? And you can be like, again, oh, the system, oh, the institutions, right? But it's also something where people learn to live with each other. Like, think about it. Most of your childhood friends, you're still friends with. Reason being that, again, you grew up together. So you kind of, again, you spend time with each other. You learn to grow up and be friends with each other. You influence each other and, your energy bounces off each other. So it's like, again, you learn to live with that, right? So it's something where I do think it's the time that you spend as well as part of it being that compatibility, right? It's, the two things, right? But don't discount one or the other. So a few days is more than enough. I'd say otherwise. I think, considering what? She's like, why are you jealous? But again, okay, if you were spending the entirety of a day, maybe 3 days. Okay, maybe. But it's been like 30 minutes in school, right? So yesterday, you've had quite a big fight with Natsuki. Be sure to MC when you need help at bar call. Are you feeling a little something too? No, of course not. I think I'm blushing. No, in a few days is enough. Definitely. After all, since he and Natsuki are so good together, I have no right to feel this way. You think people aren't allowed to feel? You feel free. You're free to feel whatever you want. You just have to be careful not to let it change you. It's like what Natsuki's doing right now. She's like, because she does have a point, right? You know, what's it called? Because I've never had one of these before, or like been in one of these feuds where like you have like multiple people liking the same person, right? And that's something to where what's it called? You know, it's like, or like let's say one person gets with someone else, but a different person likes them, right? You know, I've never been in that situation, so it's something to where like again, right? So just pointing that out there. But it's something to where again, you like she does have a point, right? Obviously, she's trying to get to pin Yuri against Natsuki, but she does have the point in that, you know, you like again, something where you are allowed to feel a certain way, right? Again, it's not like you can. So it's something where again, at least in terms of that, it's like, yeah, you know, just because, you know, whatever is going on, right, doesn't mean you can't feel a certain way, right? It's like Natsuki's friends, so it's my duty to help her. Exactly. Anyway, what are we doing here? Are we supposed to be sharing poems? Oh, right, poems. The talk was interesting, so I forgot the initial purpose. Take the poem left on the table and hand it to Monica. I wrote something a little more elaborate than yesterday. Feel free to give me your feedback. Takes the poem in your hands and reads it. Feels like an eternity before she finishes it. She stops looking at the poem, stares at me. You're right, this is kind of different. It's really troubling. The time I can't seem to find a correct meaning behind it, unless it's something really dark. So obviously she knows, right? But she's not going to actually tell Yuri, but she's hitting it on the head just without actually saying it. When my mouth talk, can't find anything safe. Stand there for a few seconds, trying to come with a cohesive response. It's just, can't see it in my head, but it'd be too hard to put it into words. Do you at least enjoy it? Oh, yes, of course. You really have a certain talent with words. Your poems are mesmerizing. I was like, did it get quieter? As soon as I started reading, I couldn't stop. You have a fascinating method of writing. Thank you, Monica. It's been a long time establishing my writing style, so hearing that from you is really heartwarming. Keep up the good work. She reaches in her bag to grab her poem. She quickly notices MC's done chatting with Natsuki. I think he's going to show you his poem. I'll be back right after that. Go enjoy your time with him. Indeed, MC's walking. She's like, all right, time to head out. She's like, time to get out, go at Natsuki, right? That's my poem a little more as he approaches. There's no reason to be so nervous. End up staring into his eyes again. Bitch, the fucking red eyes. Flashes me a bright smile. He hands me his poem. Smile back. My stomach feels weird. Monica, what are you doing? Putting such thoughts. It's like, bro, don't know. Now it's your problem, right? You know, she's not in the conversation anymore. It's just you and him, right? Bitch, okay, never mind. This is actually a fucking Natsuki poem, right? The first one we saw was the Sayori. This one's actually a Natsuki, right? So yeah, this one's a Natsuki. Funny enough, we don't see the Natsuki picture, right? But this one's actually a Natsuki. Once again, structure feels a little off. Motherfucker, the 20, yeah, style. The first one was, and I didn't catch this the first time. I played through this. The first poem's a Sayori one. This one's 100% a Natsuki one, right? I'm pretty sure the third one's definitively, and we see the picture. But again, this one's like, what's it called? He's still got the old 20-word special, though. It's a bit better. The words blend with each other. The idea that he wants to convey is clear. Obviously, yeah, an image is mine while right. Mark's right. This is directed at Natsuki. It's pretty good, MC. Were you influenced by seeing everyone else's writing style yesterday? I guess you could say. I have no doubts anymore. Motherfucker, that he gave like the worst possible response. He gave like the worst possible response to that. I'm not even gonna lie. He's like, oh, I guess you could say that. Like, what is like, come on, man. Like, at least say something like, oh yeah, sure, everyone's writing styles were really helpful or something. Or like saying like, oh yeah, it was really helpful seeing everyone's writing styles. But saying like, I guess you could say so, like, come on, man. It's like, can you make it any more obvious? I see the same types of syntaxes. Bitch, I just see 20 words. I was also a bit surprised by how everyone, by how differently everyone writes, right? So I respect you for trying new things. You don't need to be afraid to do a little more. Daring, metaphors can go a long way. Don't you feel like you need to work your brain, like turning a bunch of gears? It's like I just was born. I think writing needs to be spontaneous. Pre-scheduled writing, poem writing isn't right. Funny enough, that's exactly what the MC does, but it's why I don't like preparing poems for such activities. Love to see how complex MC's poems can get. Try letting your mind wander through your feelings. Write down things you see and hear. It's one way to truly enable your reader to see into your mind. It's a very intimate exercise. He's merely smiling at me, but I think I lost MC. I'll try. Yeah, bitch, motherfucker, this dude doesn't even read. Like, he's like, I read a horror book once. You need to understand who you're dealing with, right? Don't mind. He's particularly cute like that. It's like, just why am I thinking? It's like, bitch, he's so cute when he's ignoring me, right? I see. He's clearly interested in technique. Thanks for sharing. Shyly hold out my poem. Now's the moment to see what he'll think of it. He's like, bitch, I can't read. One example of that, if you'd like to read, of course. Is this the poem you wrote for today? No, it's the poem you wrote for yesterday, the one you've already read. He gently takes the poem from my hand. His movements are so graceful. He starts reading. It's again, he's taking his time. MC's not saying anything. We're supposed to talk now. Well, if it bothered him while I was reading. Like, I know how frustrating it is to be bothered. It's a little more daring with this one. This is the best I could come up with. I can see that. It's a lot more metaphorical. I can't help smiling to myself. Looks like he didn't understand. Only 2 days in. Are you starting to understand poems a little more? Impressive. That's right. It's a bit closer to my preferred writing style, using the poem as a canvas to display vivid imagery and convey emotions through it. If I take it at face value, I can't even figure out what's supposed to be. Now I'm not too sure. Does he understand or not? You're not supposed to ignore the face value of the poem. It's part of it too. Mine's a combination of abstract and concrete concepts. Like, motherfucker, I just put stuff down on paper. He seemingly hasn't understood the real meaning of the poem. What a relief. Well, I think it's something different people can relate to in their own way. I want to express the way it feels for me to indulge in my more unusual hobbies. It's those sorts of things that I'm usually forced to keep on myself. So I sometimes enjoy writing about them. But again, obviously you're not going to say it, right? So like, but it would be like a mutual thing. He's like, oh, I feel like similar to that in this way, right? Like he's like, oh, these hobbies of mine, I can relate, right? So I looked down. I may have said a tad too much. She was staring at me with such a look. I think I just got lost in my train of thought again. So I look up to him, see him grinning at me. That's funny. Was the reaction I was expecting? Not that it bothers me. I don't find this amusing. Didn't Doski also write something about that? About someone being ridiculed for a strange interest? And again, we know what's it called. Because this was completely accidental. I think there was the third day, right? We know their third poem, they both write about the beach, right? Or whatever. You know, the beach in like childhood, right? But we know this one was just purely accidental or coincidental that they wrote about the same thing, right? She did? Yeah. She wasn't talking about how it doesn't matter what you're into, so long as you're not hurting it. Like, she's right. Natsuki, of all people, I would expect her to think this way. Again, we didn't see her poem, right? But we know that's her second day poem. She made me a best friend. Thought she despised my kind of hobby. But obviously it's not the same one, right? So she really feel that way? Yeah. Sounds like you two have that in common. That's interesting. To me, she seemed like the kind of person who make fun of my hobbies. Suppose that's my fault for judging, isn't it? Suddenly gasped. Please don't tell her I said that. Spoke in my mind. Whenever he's around, I have a hard time separating my words from my thoughts. Don't worry, I have no reason to. I sighed with relief. Okay, thank you for sharing it with me. He nods and gives me my poem back. He turns around and goes towards Sayori. He's now smiling. In a few seconds, Monka's already next to me, ready to share a poem. All right, ready to give me your opinion? You look really excited. I know you give me honest feedback. I really like it when you tell me what you think. I'll gladly read it then. Monka smiles. Grab it and read it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not fucking reading that, so. Wow, I just stand there looking at her poem for a solid minute, even more impressive than the one I ran yesterday. Those words create the perfect rhyme, and even though the meaning of the poem is indeed a little blurry, I feel something. This poem makes me feel something. It doesn't happen often. It's truly incredible. Look at Monka, and I flash her a big smile. You're awfully good. I really can't find any flaws in your poem. I think I like it more than mine. And no, I don't think it's any better. I've been read yours. I can guarantee you mine is nothing next to it. However, it's really flattering to hear you compliment my poem. What did you particularly like about it? I pondered for a few seconds, trying to put my thoughts into words. There are many striking elements that can be considered as good. There were two specific factors. First, the metaphors used at the end. I really enjoy them. They're easy to picture, and yet they convey so much more than their apparent simplicity. And again, this is more of a Natsuki train of thought, right? Second, the rhythm. Just like the one you wrote yesterday, I was so into it. It's like the words followed each other. And then this would be more of like a Yuri Sayori train of thought as well. It's interesting, right? Wouldn't lie about these things. I didn't expect it to be that good. Thank you. It's no big deal. Thank you for showing it to me. I hand her the poem. Just as I do, Natsuki comes next to us, poem in hand. Hey, now sharing poems without me? Not cool. Three of us laugh. Of course we wouldn't forget about you. Show us your poem. She probably raises it in the air and hands it to me. Monica looks over my shoulder, trying to read it at the same time. Holy fuck, bitch, I'm not reading that. The poem's certainly considerably longer than the one she wrote yesterday. It's much more complex. It's hard to describe. Some kind of mix between usual simplicity and a strong message. MC didn't lie. This poem's also about having a weird hobby. I'm not going to say a word. It looks like she liked the poem as well. Natsuki, how can I say this? Well, no, if you're going to criticize me again, I'm kidding. I really like it. Actually, MC told me my poem is very similar to yours. She winced at that. Say his name. It's much longer than yesterday's, right? Yep. See, I can use more words than you think. Indeed, it does share the same elements with MC's poem a little. Natsuki flinches one more. I'm pretty sure Monka's just testing. Oh, Monka's saying this. Bitch, I'm blind. I thought fucking Yuri said that. See, right? So, or yeah, she just said that, right? I don't know if I consider it funny or mean. No, he copied my style, but let's not talk about it. Sorry, come on. You know, I'm just teasing. Anyway, why don't you show me your poem here, since apparently ours similar. Let's see how you portray the subject. I hand her the poem. She takes it. Almost, motherfucker, she's like, fucking yanks it. She hears our poem a few times. How? Pardon? How can you write about the same subject as me? What are the odds? Oh, that. I guess we're connected in some way. And about the poem itself, how was it? Well, you know, it feels a little unlike you. Unlike me? Don't tell me she actually understood the meaning of it. Monica couldn't even understand. Well, clearly she doesn't. I guess she's just, I don't know, you know, she probably, funny enough, how Yuri thinks Natsuki would make fun of her for that kind of stuff. Natsuki's probably thinking Yuri just doesn't indulge in that kind of stuff, right? She's thinking about herself, right? She's like, oh, you know, Yuri's going to think I'm so weird. Yuri's like, oh, Natsuki's going to think I'm so weird. Meanwhile, they don't realize that they each have those kinds of things, right? What do you mean? Well, Monica looks startled. I don't think she was listening to us. Yes, wasn't Natsuki. I need your help. Something in this poem doesn't feel quite like Yuri. I can't put my finger on it. What we talked about, I couldn't find the correct meaning. It's mostly made me think of dark things, honestly. Maybe this is what's bothering you. You're just right about dark things. The game dangerously close to the main point. How am I supposed to justify stuff? I don't know. I must have read a little too much before writing it. What sports that you enjoyed it, right? Of course. It's not unusual. It's not my rent style. It's well executed. Good job. Natsuki and Natsuki. Michael looks in MC's direction. Looks like these two are done sharing their poems. Sharing time's over then. So I guess that was MC sharing with Sayori, right? Okay, everyone. And I'm going to end it here. It's exactly an hour. Exactly an hour. But yeah, again, I was surprised. I didn't think, I completely forgot. I really enjoyed this part. I completely forgot about, again, Sayori seeing Yuri and Sayori confronting Yuri about that, right? I completely forgot about that. And I also, I didn't think we'd have the Hanako interaction this early. And I also thought it was a lot longer, but I guess, maybe I was wrong. And maybe I just spent the whole time trying to figure out, okay, what anime is she from, right? But it's also something that's interesting in terms of, again, right? In terms of that, again, it's interesting. I think the most interesting part was, again, I realized that because I didn't pick up on this the first time going through. The first day poem was the Sayori poem. But I thought the first time going through all three are Natsuki, but very clearly the first day poem was Sayori, but this one was a Natsuki one. So it's going to probably be like Sayori, Natsuki, right? Again, right? At least in terms of that. It's something where it's like, again, that's just so interesting, right? Again, even now this stuff surprised me. And this is why this is my favorite, right? Again, it does such a good job on this stuff. But now with Hanako's interaction down, though, we still have the Monica one. I believe Yuri still goes with Monica somewhere, and they have like a genuine interaction there. And then obviously the Sayori weekend one. That's the big one I'm looking forward to. That's the one I really enjoyed. To know that that's longer as well, and especially with kind of how the mod's setting up towards that, right? The whole, you have, again, the passive, like, again, passive, like, what's it called? Consistent, continuous subplot with Natsuki, right? And their friendship, but it's also building up for like Yuri picking up on Sayori, finding Sayori there, and then Sayori finding her, right? Again, it's building up their relationship as well, even though they don't really spend that much time together. But anyway, I'm going to end it here. I don't have anything else to say. Again, it's something where it's like, yeah, can't wait till the next part, right? Hopefully it's tomorrow. We'll see, right? Yes, yeah, I don't have anything else. So, yep, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.